My name's Chris. I'm 29 years old. I'm technically Austrian. I'm effectively completely homeless and at home everywhere. Grew up most of my life in Southeast Asia, but spent some time in the Middle East, Australia. Did my undergrad in mechanical engineering in the States, in Arizona, and then went to grad school in Vienna, where I met the soon-to-be co-founder of my first startup, which was a check-in-based mobile social network back in 2007, which we raised 2 rounds of VC financing for, and then deployed in Shanghai. Around November in 2009, we began working on a new concept after we partnered with the largest mobile search firm in China for Urbian, and we began working in 2009 November on Curiously, which is my current focus. In March I came back here, and now it's full swing and everything's smoking with that. I think our experience was pretty anomalous for Urbian. Like, we went from prototype to fundraising to basically closing our first round within about 3 weeks. So it happened really quickly, which is, I think, a bit abnormal. So I think we were kind of under the impression that it was easy to raise money, VC money anyways, which is obviously not the case. I think in terms of learning, the most painful but also valuable experience was understanding the user. I mean, it sounds so trite when I say it like that, but we launched and deployed in Shanghai with a concept that we really didn't know had offered any value to the users in China, and at the time it didn't, right? So we spent a long time and a lot of money trying to figure that out, and now I think it's our strongest point, but back then it was our weakest. From a private equity group based out of Hong Kong. We talked to VCs, so other institutional sources of financing, mostly in China, because back then our focus was in the region, and some of the larger U.S. Institutional funds have presences or cooperations in China, and we spoke with those. In the end, we ended up raising our second round through our initial investor, because our valuation was better, and investor relations is so important to how well you can function as a company, and we already had that in place. Urbian is very profitable. It is kind of bankrolling Curiously. The two companies and the concepts behind them are not entirely independent, so they're kind of interwoven. We like to see Curiously as a kind of like a sequential evolution of Urbian in a new entity, yeah, with a different mission, but Curiously leads from Urbian very organically. By far, the thing that was more valuable than the money was the confidence. Like, I've learned so much from our first investor, and how much faith he put in trust and integrity, and that I think was like shaped our company, shaped us as the founders instrumentally. Like, back then a lot of startups have this idea that it's kind of like a cloak and dagger game, and they showed us that it really wasn't. Everything was very transparent. Even, of course, that as a PE fund, you can have different motivations. You can still be aligned in terms of character, and I think having the good character and having a character sets in your founder team that's aligned with your investor is quintessential to success. You know, that was also another thing that was really cool, is that we had full control, and he also wanted us to maintain full control. So we were, some VCs don't like this philosophy, that you don't allow in your mind the possibility of external management. We are like that, for better or worse, but we always wanted to maintain control, and our investor was fully supportive of that, and I think that was also really valuable for us. In one line, Curiously is a service for measuring real-time location-based public opinion. It's an SDK, so a small snippet of code that developers install in Android and iOS applications that allows market researchers, politicians, SMEs, PR agencies, anybody, to ask millions of people all over the world what they think about something and track those responses in real time, tagged to location. We have deployed the SDK, so we are also trying a quasi new kind of distribution method, which is what we call dormant seeding, where basically we seed a population even though the SDK isn't active. And that's been going on for about 7 months, and we have grown to about 3 million users in that period, growing by about 50,000 every day. And now we're private alpha testing, so kind of over the shoulder with select partners and proving the concept regionally in Austria. We're post-revenue and profitable and funding it ourselves, but we're obviously entertaining the possibility of working with investors if the money is smart enough and if we find someone who really that we have the same chemistry with. I think the network actually not really. So we built our network from scratch more or less here. Our network for Urbian was very much regional. It was focused on China. I think the one thing that really we took away was an obsessive attention to understanding every single thing that we do. Every line of documentation has a purpose. Everything is very clear and crisp. I think that's what we did do well with our first company, is that we did things in a really loose, fuzzy manner. And with Curiously, everything is contained, controlled, and crisp. Like it's difficult to explain. It's very abstract. But everything from like how our corporate print material looks like is now very rigorously controlled. And I think that's because of a maybe overreaction to our lack of understanding of the Chinese market. Now we try and do everything in a way that's very well understood. I think a problem, there's a semantic problem with the word startup, especially in Europe. For some reason, people use it to encompass a whole broad variety of companies that somehow fit into this whole internet feeling, Web 2.0-ish whole deal, and I think that's wrong. I think fundamentally, a startup can be three different things. Yeah? A startup that's entirely financially motivated, so they see a business opportunity and pursue it, or they have a vision on how the world can be better, or some kind of hybrid of the two, or a legacy kind of deal. And I think the most important thing is for an entrepreneur to realize what they are. Do they want to make money quickly? Do they want to build a successful business as an end in itself? Or do they see a way that the world can be better and that's what they're trying to do? And I think like identifying that clearly is really what I see is missing. You see a lot of cargo cult attitudes towards people who want to jump on the bandwagon and who just like the whole feeling and love the whole startup spiel and so on, but don't actually know why. Like you hear people say, I want to join a startup, but they don't know which one, which to me is always confusing because that automatically limits them to the former, the first kind. And I think identifying what you want to do, I mean, it sounds so stupid, but it's really, really important. Because it changes everything. It changes how you raise, it changes your attitudes towards external management, it changes to how you view equity, it changes to your exit strategy, your plans for the next 5-10 years. What do you want to do? I want to change the world. Yeah, I mean, it sounds even more stupid to say it like that, but with Curiously, like we have a vision of how we think information in the future will be monetized. And we believe that it will be influential in many, many different industries and many different spheres. And I want to see that happen. Yeah, I think you can change the world in a bad way. You can be Hitler, yeah? I think the idea is to do something unique that offers value, yeah? So it's not just change that's trite. It's change that is new and that really offers value. I think Curiously Curiously is like in its product now is a manifestation of a deeper philosophy. And I think that deeper philosophy is very close to what I want to do in my life. I really believe that it's possible for information to be generated and disseminated and monetized in ways that aren't being realized at the moment.